It's Facebook and YouTube. Hey everybody, today we are going to talk about the truth about sugar and your body. It's going to be fun. So welcome back, SugarMD family. Good evening. It's almost evening here, right? And welcome back. It is your doctor, Dr. Ergin here. I'm your diabetes doctor. I'm your friend. No bullshit guide when it comes to cutting through all this noise about blood sugar, your health, and your body. All the good stuff, right? So tonight, we are going to have a lot of fun. This one is one of those talks that might actually surprise you. We are calling it the truth about sugar in your body. Now listen, when people think sugar, they just think blood sugar, right? Diabetes, weight gain, all that stuff. Well, that's the obvious stuff, but sugar is sneaky. It touches your skin, right? Your mood, your hormones, and then your energy, even your, let's just say, your romantic life. Yeah, we are going there today as well. So sugar can literally make you feel like 10 years older. Sometimes for some people up to 20. And it takes 10 to 20 years from your life, right? It's not always the case. It depends on how you handle it. Now, if you have been on TikTok or Instagram, you have seen the wild stuff, even on YouTube, right? Somebody says, I quit sugar for a week and look, I'm 20 again, right? And someone else is like, just drink the celery juice every morning and poof, no more acne for you. And then you've got those funny ones, folks bathing in chocolate or eating cotton candy like it's medicine. You laugh, right? But sometimes you're like, wait, does it actually work? That's exactly why I'm here tonight. You're gonna watch some of those like react together kind of videos, and then I'll break it down for you, fact or fiction. Because look, some of these things are harmless fun, but others, not so much. And my job is to give you the straight truth with real science and practical stuff that you can actually use tomorrow. Now, let me be clear. This is not a fear show, okay? I'm not here to tell you, don't eat this, don't eat that, no fun, no joy. Nope. Life is too short for that. But it's about the balance, right? Understanding what sugar is doing inside your body so you can make smarter choices. Choices that keep your skin glowing, your mood steady, your energy up, and yeah, even keep you connected with your partner. Now, I want you to think of this like a live stream in your living room clinic. It's a safe zone, no judgment, no lectures. It's just me talking straight, sharing stories, having fun with you guys. And we'll take your questions, remember, and we're gonna react to these viral videos. And I'll tell you, since we talked about this, some stories from my patients, from patients that I have recently seen in my clinic. Like this one retired teacher, all she did was start walking 10 minutes after. Just listen to me, And 3 months later, she comes back and she goes like, my blood sugar is much better. It's down. My skin even feels better. And she says, like, I feel like alive again. Or this grandpa, late 60s, not that old, that he thought that it was too late for him. He's like, I'm done, I'm retired, I'm ready to go to grave. I'm like, not so fast. So we fixed his sleep. He ate a little more fiber, and boom, his diet was horrible. Just a little fiber made a big difference, and his sleep was horrible. He now has more energy than his grandkids. So he's like, my grandkids get tired playing with me. Now, that's the power of little consistent changes for you. So here's the game plan for this afternoon. We're going to talk about sugar and your skin, why it makes you look older or younger. We're going to talk about sugar and weight gain. And spoiler, it's not just about calories. And we're going to talk about sugar and your hormones and your mood, why it makes you cranky, anxious, or even down. And we're going to talk about sugar and intimacy. You don't hear this one too often, but trust me, it matters for many people, if not you. We'll react to some viral TikToks on, each, some funny, some shocking, but I'll give you the doc's take. And by the end of the hour, you will have something way better than a quick fix. You will have a roadmap, easy, proven steps to take control of your life without giving up your life. So get comfortable, grab some water, maybe a notebook if you are a nerdy type like me, but your phone on silent, unless you're watching me on your phone, then keep it really loud so everybody can hear it. So let's talk about your skin, but before that, let me see if we have any questions already coming up. I'm going to take maybe a random question. Yeah, let's go to a random question. All right, let me see what we have here with the questions. All right. Let me take control of this here. Okay, let me see the questions on my screen. I'm trying to get that on my screen here. Sorry about that, guys. We are having technical problems here. All right, so there is a buzzing on my right ear, by the way, from my producer. I don't know what he is doing there. All right, so let me scroll down. Me and 2 out of my 4 sons are diabetic type 1, and we eat pasta, but we keep blood sugar levels under control. So let me click on that to put it on the screen here. Yeah, I mean, type 1 diabetes is a different beast, right? So we are talking mostly about type 2 diabetics today, but you know, eating pasta is not a sin, right? You can eat pasta as long as you know how much carbs you're consuming. You can eat pasta and you can eat, you know, 15, 20, 30 grams of carbs, or you can eat pasta and you can be eating like 100 grams of carbs. Now, for type 1 diabetics, the problem is when you're eating carbohydrates, and that even actually happens with type 2 diabetics too, like you're not just eating pasta itself, you're actually eating protein with it, you're eating fat with it, depending on what type of fat you're using there. If it is olive oil, it's much better. If it is butter, saturated fats, it makes it a lot harder. So a lot of type 1 diabetics will come and tell me that, look, doc, you know, I'm eating the same amount of carbs and I enter the same amount of carbohydrates and calculate my insulin, and I end up with a different blood sugar every time. And they're not lying there. It's true, because your blood sugar is not just affected from the carbohydrates alone. It's affected from the protein as well as fat. We oversimplify things for type 1 diabetics most of the time. Just say count your carbs and you'll be okay. But then they get heartbroken because it's not the case. You know, the fat affects it, protein affects it. And when you are eating higher amount of carbohydrates, the margin of error becomes higher. So because, you know, again, there's so many different variables factor in there, and insulin's action time for a type 1 diabetic differs even from insulin to insulin. And what time they take the insulin, how soon they take the insulin. Sometimes they forget to take the insulin, they take it after a meal. Then insulin doesn't have time to kick in and blood sugars are already high from the pasta. And then insulin kicks in later and then their blood sugar drops because carbs are already absorbed, etc., etc. It is difficult to be a type 1 diabetic. However, most of my type 1 diabetics who are successful, they are on a low-carb diet. And it's not like a no-carb diet. They are on a low-carb diet, and they are able to control it thanks to the technology nowadays as well. We have a lot of insulin pump systems and continuous glucose monitoring systems that are really helpful. When people make a mistake with their insulin, they kick in and they help kind of save the day. All right. So I'm going to take more questions. I'm going to talk a little bit more today here. So let's see. All right. So let me go back here a little bit, see what we else have. Any questions? All right, let's go to the videos here until the questions come in. We are going to react to some videos, all right?
I've been craving this cake from this restaurant
Hold
ever since
on
I
a
had it
second. I
back
have
in
a problem with
November.
my sound.
And life is too short for me.
We need to connect my Bluetooth here quickly. All right, in the meantime, you guys can type your questions while we are fixing this technical issues here. Connected, not connected. Okay, let's try to connect. Okay, there you go. I think I'm good now. All right, let me tell you, this live shows is a beast. There's too many moving pieces here. Trying to control everything is hard. Okay, let me go back here and then get this started.
I'm craving this cake from this restaurant
Uh-oh, still coming from the sound. I think we have a sound problem. We have to get the sound from the Bluetooth, not from the computer. All right, my producer, can you help me with that? Bluetooth, it gets disconnected. Hold on a second. It keeps getting disconnected. Let's play this again.
Since I had it back in.
Nope. It's not really helping me here. Put this back. And get connected again. It's connected. Hold on. All right, should be good now. Let's listen to this video. Watch this video.
I'm craving this cake from this.
Nope. The sound is coming from my computer. Let's get the speakers, sound output. All right.
Restaurants ever.
All right, let's take a break and we'll fix the technical issues here. The wait is finally over. After thousands of messages and emails asking when is it coming back, I have got the announcement that you have all been waiting for. Hey everyone, Dr. Ergin here from SugarMD with breaking news that will change your 2025. Our completely reformulated advanced glucose support is officially available on our website sugarmds.com. For those who do not know, this isn't just another supplement. Our original advanced glucose support helped thousands of people manage their blood sugar levels naturally. Many of you saw results within just days of starting it, something that made us incredibly proud. But here's what makes the new formula even more exciting. We have enhanced the formulation to be more effective, kept the same trusted price point, made it even better at targeting those stubborn morning blood sugar spikes, and it is still designed to work alongside your current medications. I know many of you have been using alternatives or paying more for multiple supplements trying to get the same effects. Well, you can stop searching
warning, the real deal is back and better than ever. You can order yours right now at SugarMDs.com. And for those who want to save some money, we offer a subscription service that gives you up to 20% off. Don't wait too long though. If history repeats itself, our first batch might sell out quickly. Head over to SugarMDs.com now to secure your bottle. Remember, while advanced glucose support is a powerful tool, it works best as part of our comprehensive approach to diabetes management, proper diet, regular exercise, and following your doctor's advice. Thank you for your incredible patience during this reformulation process. We are excited to help you start 2025 on the right foot.
All right, let's go back to thanks for being patient here. We fixed the audio issue here, and then we're gonna go back to our videos now. Right, let's take the first question. All right. So this type of videos, I sometimes having hard time understanding myself, but I think what she's trying to show is that she cut the sugar, and then her acne improved dramatically, which happens a lot, by the way. You know, obviously, my audience who watch me is typically 50 plus, not like a teenager girls, but the point is, you don't have to have acne. Your skin quality will be diminished if you are on a high sugar diet, because the sugar binds the advanced glycation end products, which happens to be collagen in this case. And advanced glycation end products binds the collagen and makes your skin a lot more wrinkly and older if you're exposed to sugar a lot more. All right, let's watch the next one here.
Cocoa and honey face mask. 1 teaspoon.
All right, someone is
of
making
cocoa
a chocolate
powder, 2 teaspoons
face
of honey.
mask.
Always
Let's
do
see
a
how's
patch
that gonna
test
turn
before you
out.
put anything on your face. You leave this face mask on your face for about 10 to 15 minutes. It's hydrating and nourishing. It can be messy to wash off, but it's worth it.
Reduces the appearance of
So she's doing this face mask thing. So we'll see. Well, how's that gonna look like on her?
scars. It has vitamin A, C and E in it, and zinc, which are really good for your skin. The honey helps with any acne scars that you might have. It takes down inflammation and any redness. It does tend to melt a bit, so you might want to have a tissue.
So one thing that I noticed, guys, this is my problem as well, and I'm guilty as charged. If you look at this lady, most of you have probably already noticed that she has tremendous amount of sun damage. Obviously, she probably dresses that way most of the time. And if you live in an area like where I live in Florida, and then you're exposing your skin to sun, you're going to have a ton of sun damage. And it is very, very difficult to fix a skin that is damaged by sun with just some chocolate face mask. That's just not happening. There are a lot of plastic surgeons out there making a lot of money using all sorts of procedures, but they typically take a big layer from your skin. You look like red hot potato for a few days, and for it to regenerate and whatnot. But definitely, when you have sun damage, that type of mask is not going to help you. Masks, in my opinion, and there's a lot of cosmetic masks out there with a lot of junk in it, so I'm glad she's actually using something natural. But most masks will clean your face maybe for a day or two, but it is very hard to see permanent changes because your skin layer, the top layer, is constantly changing. And if you have low quality skin to begin with, once that top layer, the epidermis, is replaced, the replacing skin is still going to be low quality because your collagen is not good to begin with and your melanocytes are crazy to begin with. And if your nutrition is not good to begin with, like she's talking about zinc, vitamin E, etc., which are great, But if you are having that in your diet, that's going to go to your skin anyway, so you don't have to slap it on your face to get the vitamin E and C and zinc, etc. So, all right, so vitamin C, by the way, is super important for collagen. So that's one of the things that in an American diet we are missing a lot, and a lot of people try to have vitamin C in their diet by drinking orange juice, which is a big mistake because you're having more sugar than anything else in the orange juice. But definitely not the best way to do it. Get the vitamin C in your vegetables, and you can eat an orange instead of drinking orange juice if you really want the orange. All right, let's look at the next video here. In the meantime, send me your questions. Send me your questions, and we're gonna get to the videos as well. But let me see if there's any questions here. I'm gonna choose a question. How are people, my producer Jim, please go ahead and put how people are affected having issues with sugar levels when having hypothyroidism. Let me read that question again. How are people affected having issues with sugar levels when having hypothyroidism? So meaning if you have hypothyroidism and diabetes issues or sugar level problems, how is this affecting people? Well, there is a relationship between hypothyroidism and, is that on screen, Jim? Put that on screen, see if you can get that on screen. I think one of our softwares is not responding here. We are supposed to have a chat system that brings up to the screen. But anyway, I'm going to answer the question. If you guys are probably seeing it on your chat box there, I was planning to bring that on the screen, but I'm not able to. So basically, when you have hypothyroidism, it does affect the diabetic people. How? Hypothyroidism means that you have slow metabolism, and if it is not treated, metabolism of even medications will be slower as well. Your liver and your kidney will also be sluggish, and that can actually lead to low blood sugar sometimes. However, on the other side, when you have hypothyroidism, your body is not showing a lot of effort to gain weight, right? So you're gaining weight a lot faster. Most of them is water weight, but also you're tired, right? So you're tired, your weight is coming up, and I'm gonna tell something to my producer because he needs to cut his background noise. It's on my ear, excessive background noise. Jim, can you please cut your background noise? Maybe use a headset. So yeah, let me go a little bit more in detail about that hypothyroidism. So like I said, the metabolism runs slower, and that affects how body really handles the blood sugar. Insulin will work less effectively too, and sometimes if it is really untreated, that can lead to eventually high blood sugars. Low thyroid hormone also raises the cholesterol. So a lot of times when people have high cholesterol, we check their thyroid to make sure that they are not high in cholesterol. And then insulin resistance obviously is a problem, right? So that causes people to gain weight, and that causes insulin resistance, which kind of gets things more complicated. But the good news is when it's treated, then you're pretty good. All right, so let's take another question here. My mother is 81 and her face looks like 55-year-old woman. She uses honey on her face every 2 days. She takes sun, but not as suntan, and tries not using sunblock. So let me tell you something about this. Yeah, sunblocks are, unless they're zinc, right? So if you're using a sunblock, you gotta use zinc. That's the only way to go. That's what they use for kids, right? And then for adults, they use all sorts of chemicals. You definitely want to protect your skin with zinc, but or zinc-based creams. But most of the time, you know, the skin quality also boils down to genetics, right? So certain nations and certain people will have good genetics, and that definitely helps dramatically with their skin tone. No matter how poorly they treat their skin, they still look good, and you know, you can't beat that. You can't beat genetics. Now, honey does some natural antibacterial and moisturizing properties. So if you're using it all the time on your face, can help your skin like be softer and more healthy. So obviously getting the sun exposure in moderation is the key, not the tanning. You can get your vitamin D through sun, which is good, and vitamin D helps a lot with your skin tone as well. But it is very hard to get enough vitamin D just by sun exposure, especially if you are using sunscreen. That's even harder. But small habits like this, you know, natural skincare and smart sun use, etc., definitely is great. It's not about fancy creams again, right? It's about the basics and the nutrition. So you have to consider also like hormones, right? So a lot of times women come to me and they're like scared of hormone replacement therapy. I'm like, look, I have this patients who are in their 80s and 90s and their skin looks beautiful. You know why? Because they've been on hormones. So when you don't have estrogen, you lose skin elasticity and collagen so much faster. That's why there's women always complain, you know, men age gracefully and women look horrible when they're older. Well, that's not necessarily gender related, because women lose their hormones age 50 and then their skin quality dramatically goes down. And in all honesty, nobody cares about women's skin in conventional sense. And they just tell women, hey, if you use hormones, you will have a heart attack and stroke, which is not true. Especially if you start the hormone therapy early. You know, unless you're a smoker, you have a bunch of other risk factors. Your risk, especially with creams, etc., is not really increasing your risk. If it does, it is very little, so little that it is much less than you probably getting hit by a truck and getting killed. But they scare women, you know, they scare women, and then they just don't use hormones, which is a shame, I think. All right, and then they say, okay, she also uses vitamin C, which we mentioned, collagen, vitamins, zinc, magnesium, great, especially magnesium glycinate is great. All right, so let's see what else we have. Let's take another question. Do we have any other question, Jim? All right, I don't see any other question there. All right, so let's go for, I mean, if I want to mention a few things about this vitamin C thing, I guess, you know, if you were maybe, I thought it was a statement, but if it is a question, I can tell you that yes, vitamin C boosts the collagen production, and zinc helps with the healing and an immune system. An immune system is directly involved in skin healing. So, and magnesium calms the nervous system. And as you know, when you are not sleeping and you're stressed out, that's going to show on your skin. And put all that together with the honey and avoiding sun too much, then of course, and with the good genetics, you'll be great. So awesome. Happy for her. Let's go to some video reactions if we do not have any questions.
When you consume sugar, sugar can actually bond to the collagen and the elastin in your skin. Now, our skin is composed about 70 to 80% of collagen, and that's what causes our skin to be nice and tight and firm when we get younger. But as we get older, really starting as early as our mid-20s, we start to lose about 1% of the thickness of collagen every year.
Wow.
And women, when they go through menopause, that goes up to 2% a year.
That's exactly what I was saying just a minute ago. You know, when women go to menopause, they lose twice more collagen and twice more bone, by the way. And hormone replacement therapy also helps with the bones. It helps so many other things, but people are so scared about a tiny risk of stroke and whatnot. They just basically ignore all the other benefits. All right, so let's go more on this
And that's
video.
why when you see some women and they're, let's say, in their 70s and 80s, sometimes their skin is so tissue paper thin because that collagen has just been completely thinned out. Now, when you consume sugar, the sugar can then bond to the collagen, and that collagen in the skin, it's like I describe it like the logs of a log cabin. And when you're younger, those logs are nice and tight and they're strong. But as you get older, those logs start to fall apart. They start to fray and become basically damaged. Now, what sugar does to it is it takes those logs that are starting to fall apart and it bonds to them, causing them to become even more kinked or even more fallen apart, and prevents them from getting back to normal again. And those sugar protein collagen hybrids are called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, very appropriately titled.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, you know, they know about glycation, but they don't know necessarily that this is something that can also age your skin as well. And
All right, so exactly, right? So glucose, too much of it. You need some glucose, right? Everybody knows what happens if your glucose goes down to 40. That's not consistent with life. Your body needs some glucose. However, like everything in nature, it's all about the balance. If you're having spikes in your blood sugar, that's going to affect you. It's like having some breeze is nice, right? But having a hurricane, like we're about to have one in a day or two here, is not nice because it is too much. It's too much of a gust and wind, and it's damaging. That analogy works very well about glucose. Glucose in the 90s, you know, when you eat, it can go up to 120, 130, 140, let's say 150 tops. But once you start hitting 160, 180 or more, you're really getting those damaging winds. And those glucose is looking for a place to stick to. And that's typically the protein and collagen, etc., which affects your skin. But what really kills you is when the glucose sticks to your arteries. That's why diabetes is a vascular disease. It is not a sugar disease, period. It's the sugar affects the vascular system, which what kills you. It's not the sugar directly killing you, it's indirectly killing you, right? All right. So let's go for some more. Do we have more videos, or are we going for a break? All right, let's go for the next topic here. So we want to divide this live a little bit for you so that it's not, you know, the same thing. So you guys are having fun. We have different topics. I'm going to talk about the weight gain and sugar. So as we know, weight gain is not just about calories, right? Sugar spikes to insulin, which is a weight gaining hormone. Insulin tells your body to store fat, especially the belly fat. So let's watch a video here and on a TikTok, and then let's see what they say. All right, so this guy is funny. He's he's strong. He is strong. You know, most Chinese people that I know, they're super skinny, but this is obviously a bodybuilder. So remember, this guy obviously is a competitive bodybuilder. When you are using your muscles, when you have these big muscles, you can tolerate carbohydrates so much better. So if you look like this guy, you can tolerate not as many donuts. I think this is for the show, but you can probably tolerate the donut because his muscles are gonna suck this up. If you're a sedentary person, you don't have big muscles, and you're just eating a cake anyway because you have it, it's not gonna go anywhere because you don't have muscles to suck them up. So that's where the problem is, right? Now, and they need the carbs. Obviously, eating this kind of carb is never good for anyone. It's gonna spike his insulin. He's gonna probably like feel like trash in a couple hours. His blood sugar is gonna bottom out to too low. It's gonna spike and it's gonna bottom out. He's putting a show, but he's gonna definitely tolerate this a lot better. His blood sugar may not even move much, just because his insulin resistance is so low, more than likely. Occasional carbohydrate indulgence like this, if you have a very healthy lifestyle, I don't think is a problem. So occasionally having a little bit of a cake because there's somebody's birthday is there, it's not going to kill you if you are eating very healthy and clean most of the time. All right, so let's see what else we have. Let's take a maybe a question here. Let's take that one. Sometimes I wake up with blood sugar of 70. Let's see what it says. Sometimes I wake up with a sugar of 70, and when I start making my breakfast really fast, it goes up to 80. Is that because the liver is releasing glucagon at that moment? That is exactly right. It's actually not just glucagon. It is also cortisol. It is also the testosterone if you're a male. It is also growth hormone. But glucagon is the main driver, that's for sure. And what we know also, there is a problem in glucagon secretion in diabetics. So diabetics secrete glucagon inappropriately because their glucagon cells, the cells that make glucagon, are resistant to insulin. So normally when insulin goes up, glucagon goes down. That's how it works. But when you're an insulin resistant type 2 diabetic, insulin goes up and glucagon goes up. Well, that's where the problem is. And when the glucagon goes up, your insulin is trying to bring the sugar down, but the glucagon is trying to bring the sugar up. And that keeps happening even after meals. Now, most people think that, okay, I ate a meal, my blood sugar went up because I'm diabetic, so they accept the fact. But they struggle with the fact that they just woke up and they didn't eat anything and their blood sugar is going up anyway. And that's called Dawn phenomenon. Most of you know about this. And to change that, what we recommend to people is, hey, go take a walk, right? Drink some water because you're dehydrated, and eat a protein breakfast. You know, it could be some eggs, some cheese, whatnot, some yogurt, Greek yogurt. That will at least reduce the cortisol levels a little bit. You cannot totally prevent it, but you can help it. All right. So let's see if you have any other question there. Somebody said, I'm not sure if my burning feet is related to being diabetic or is it because I have high uric acid. All right, so we're gonna go into a little bit of a detail on this one here. Now, I'll tell you what a diabetic neuropathy feels like. First of all, diabetic neuropathy happens mostly at night. So if your symptoms are mostly at night, including numbness, it could be tingling, it could be cramps, then yeah, it's more than likely it's due to diabetic neuropathy. But it can come both from diabetes and high uric acid as well. So in diabetes, especially if blood sugars have been high over time, as you know, the neuropathy will come in because the tiny arteries that goes to the nerves will be affected, and your poor nerves are basically struggling to get nutrients. On the other hand, if uric acid is high, it can trigger gout or inflammation in the joints, which is usually more of a sharp pain and swelling rather than constant burning. So there is a difference in presentation. Now, if you have high uric acid and you have diabetes, that is definitely a problem because then uric acid is an inflammatory compound. But the key difference here is neuropathy is more of a nerve pain and like numbness, tingling, cramps, etc. But if you're having gout issues, that's more of a joint pain. But for example, if let's say your ankle joints are affected, you may not, kind of realize or understand which is it neuropathy or is it gout-related symptoms. There are some disorders that is mostly calcium accumulation that can present like gout, but these are more like rheumatology specialty topics. All right. So let's take a few videos. React it. Let's do a video here.
Blood sugar spikes, then insulin spikes, then fat storage. If you are struggling with belly fat, cravings, or fatigue, this one chain reaction might explain everything. Here's what happened. You eat carbs like bread, juice, or cereals. Your blood sugar rises fast. Your body responds by pumping out insulin to lower it. But insulin isn't just a blood sugar hormone, it's also a fat storage hormone. So when insulin is high, your body stores fat instead of burning it. The thing is, if this happens all day, every day, your body never gets a break. Your insulin stays high all day. You will feel tired, gain fat, especially around the belly, and develop insulin resistance over time, even if you are eating healthy. Once I learned how insulin
Okay, so I'm gonna close this video here, but I mean, she is right. I love when everybody becomes a doctor. That means that actually they're doing their homework, right? And when it comes to a concept like insulin resistance, that is fairly easy to understand for many people. But I'm glad even these young girls are talking about it and understanding what insulin resistance is. And we want more people to behave like experts, like this girl talking about how insulin and what it does and how it stores fat, why it goes to your belly, etc. Definitely. Now, obviously, belly fat, what you see from outside is one thing, but what you don't see is really the fat around your organs, which is called visceral fat. And that is what kills most people. Like for example, I don't know if this girl is Chinese or Korean. They all look small, right? Because their body frame is small, like my body frame is small too, right? You may think that they're just fine, they don't look fat, and versus an American, like a well-built American guy with muscular guy, may look like a lot bigger and maybe more at risk, but in reality, we care more about the visceral fat, not so much the fat under the skin. And insulin, that's exactly what it does. And the visceral fat causes fatty acids to circulate in your body, which is horrible. Those fatty acids binds to insulin receptors, make them insulin resistant, and so forth. All right, so I'm going to take a question about how much water do you recommend. Let's take that question to the screen. How much water do you recommend for someone who is borderline diabetic and is drinking cranberry juice with no sugar added? Is that good or not? All right. So when it comes to water, I think water is a little bit overrated to start with. But water is still your best friend, okay? A good rule of thumb is around 2 to 3 liters per day. That's about 8 to 12 cups. But also depends on your size, your activity, your climate. So if you are always inside under AC and you're not really very active and you're drinking instead of 8 to 12 cups, you're drinking 20, 30 cups. Well, that's a problem actually. Too much water can reduce your sodium levels, and that can lead to nausea, dizziness, and even weakness. Some cases even we see hospitalization from too low of a sodium because of the dilution from water. But still, steady hydration without overdoing it is great. As for the cranberry juice, even the no sugar added version still have some natural fruit sugar that can raise your glucose. So if you're using that for urinary tract infection prevention, you can maybe take cranberry supplements instead of drinking the juice. I always say don't juice it because anytime you have a juice, there is sugar in it, even if there is no added sugar. And that's how they get you, right? They'll say no sugar added. They don't It's not, they're not saying there's no sugar in it, they're just saying no sugar added, but there's still natural sugars. When you drink that, it spikes your insulin very quickly, and your body does not have enough time to respond with enough insulin to control it. But switching to unsweetened sparkling water with a splash of lemon or berries may be the better way to go. All right? Good question. All right. There is another question here about nuts. Herbal Magic is asking, if I choose a snack like nuts or a boiled egg, is insulin still released? Meaning even these snacks cause the body to run high all the time, like insulin running high all the time. Some doctors say snacks are okay, some say no. So nuts and boiled eggs, etc. Well, snacking can be great or can be a problem. If you are eating regular meals and you are having snacks on top of that, so let's say you're eating 3 meals and you are having 3 snacks, that is pretty much 6 eating 6 times. And unless your meals are too tiny, you are every time forcing your body to deal with the food. When your body deals with the food, what happens is you create toxic products when you're dealing with it. And your body is constantly trying to recover from that state. There's a lot of background noise. Jim, you have a lot of background noise. I don't know what's going on there, but it's very distracting. But like I was saying, the snacks can be too much if you're having regular meals. So that's why intermittent fasting is so good, because when you're fasting, your body's in the repair mode. But when you're exposing your body to food, your body is in that, cleanup mode. Let's just clean up this food. And it doesn't have time for the autophagy. However, there are a lot of diabetic patients out there who will have such tiny food amounts. They don't have main meals. They just basically live on snacks, just nimble on food. That may not be so bad because it is not a lot of food to deal with, right? Think like guests coming to your house. If you have guests in your house, if somebody comes in, like one person comes in, it's a lot easier to deal with. You have a party of 10, 20 coming in, then you have a bigger problem. And then if you have 10 or 20 people coming in, and another 2 person wants to come in 2 hours later as a snack, that may not be a great idea, right? But when it comes to like nuts or boiled eggs, they will only trigger a very small amount of insulin compared to carbs. So if you're going to have those snacking without main meals and you're just trying to get that steady energy without spiking your insulin, yes, go with the nuts, go with the eggs. There's no problem with that. Again, the real issue is if you're eating it all day long, your body never gets a break, your insulin doesn't have a chance to come down. For insulin to come down, you have to give at least 4 hours. The best is 6 hours. So if you're having a breakfast, give at least 4 to 6 hours before you eat the next meal. And the worst thing you can do before bedtime, you have to have at least another 6 hours before you go to bed. So if you're going to bed at 10, ideally your last meal should be 4 or 5 o'clock latest. Because when you go to bed, you need to be in a fasting state so your body can do some repair. All right, let's take some videos while we are waiting for more questions.
Want glowing skin, better sleep, and more energy in just 14 days? The secret: cut out sugar. Here is how it transforms your body.
All right, so I think we have heard something like this before. I'm going to skip that video. We'll go to another one. One thing that I'm going to comment on this video, yes, your skin will improve within 14 days. But you cannot just do something for 14 days and quit, right? And it also depends a lot on your genetics, like we said, the hormones, your diet overall. You may be quitting sugar, but you may still be eating junk. Like a lot of people eat deli meat. They just think that, oh yeah, it's just fine, you know, I'm not eating carbs. That's still junk, okay? There's still processed food. You're still putting that to your body. So you have to be careful about, you know, yes, sugar is an enemy, but just because you cut the sugar doesn't mean that your diet suddenly got perfected. So you still have to pay attention. All right, let's watch another video here.
Yo, all you feed me is puffins! I need nourishment!
Fly away now, fly away.
All right, that was a funny one. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, she's having fun. Occasionally, if you're doing this once in a blue moon, it's fine, but it's definitely not a nourishment, okay? It's definitely not a nourishment. It is having fun if you're doing this once a month, you know, whatever, and going to work out after, no problem, right? But yeah, I don't like the fact that these people are kind of promoting this as if like it should be an everyday event. All right, let's watch another one here.
How you feeling this morning, Stocking?
Fuck off. Don't talk to me until I've had my goddamn sugar.
Yeah, so, well, the point from this video, I think, is that people are so addicted to sugar, and if they don't have that, they are depressed. And that lady looks like she's depressed, so that's why she keeps eating that sugar to kind of like a cocaine addict to stay on track. All right, let's take a question. I want to do a detox. Let's take that question. I want to do a detox. Can I expect a glucose spike? When I did a watermelon fast, my glucose went haywire. So the detox, if it is done correctly, you may actually have your body, when you're detoxing, your body is releasing a lot of toxins, and that can actually be a problem in the beginning. It can make insulin resistance worse in the beginning. So you have to be really careful when you're detoxing about how much you're dealing with carbs. But watermelon, remember, it's very high in natural sugars. There is no protein or fat. So if you're having watermelon, I like to have watermelon in my salad. There are a lot of restaurants nowadays that I'm inspired by that. They will have salads with some watermelon in it. You're still enjoying that watermelon, but in that salad, there's a lot of like olive oil, there's some cheese, there's some nuts and stuff like that. I think that's the best way to enjoy watermelon while you're still helping your body to detox, right? But yes, during most detoxes, like I said, you can expect a sugar spike. But if you want a cleanse, gently focus on stuff like water, non-starchy veggies, lean protein, good sleep, that will support your liver and kidneys without spiking your blood sugar. All right, let's see. Are Coke Zeros bad for us? Let's get that question. So are these Coke Zeros bad for us type 2 diabetics? Look, I think there is no black and white with these things. But let me tell you this. If someone is drinking 5 cans of regular soda, instead of me telling them, hey, you got to quit soda cold turkey, which I know they're not going to do, I start with, hey, maybe try the diet soda. Most of the time, the answer is, nope, I hate the taste. But a lot of people can make the transition to Diet Coke in order to make a transition. However, in Diet Coke, there's something horrible, right? There's something called aspartame in there. And what we know about aspartame is it affects your gut microbiome. And as I mentioned in my videos, also the gut microbiome really is very important in energy metabolism and how your body handles glucose. You have trillions of bacteria that lives in your gut, and they help with detoxification. They help with hormone production, glucose metabolism. But also, one thing you need to remember with these Diet Cokes or diet anything, these artificial sweeteners are tricking your brain and your taste buds. And what it does, it keeps your craving sweet still. You're still craving sweet. So if the diet is not available, you want to get that sweet taste anyway. So you go to a restaurant or a place, if they don't have anything diet, they're like, okay, just give me the juice or just give me something sweet. So that's why it's a problem. Like I said, it also affects your gut microbiome, which is not great. However, if that's the only thing you can get in a restaurant and you don't want to just drink water because you're outing, Coke Zero occasionally is okay, but don't make it a habit. I have patients who will admit that they drink like 12 to 15 Coke Zero a day. I'm like, wow, that's just mind-blowing. How do you even do that? I mean, I personally drink Coke Zero sometimes, like maybe once a month, if I'm outing or whatever. But I can't even finish my can. Like they give me a whole can to finish. I'm like, I just take a few sips. I'm like, okay, whatever, right? So because I'm not addicted to it. And as long as you're not addicted to it, I think you'll be all right. All right, so I think we are almost by the hour here. Let's go talk about a little bit about hormones and the mood here. As we know, sugar hijacks your mood, right? You can get hangry, you can get anxious, irritable. That's not just a personality. It's a lot of times it's blood sugar. So let's react to some of these funny videos on TikTok.
Hey, good evening. Listen, withdrawal symptoms. When we stop eating sugar, when we go low carb or no carb, and we stop eating sugar altogether, sometimes you may run into withdrawal symptoms. You may have such things as headaches. You may have such things as fatigue and tiredness, depression. All these things can happen because your brain isn't receiving that high from the sugar. So we need to know right now that in order to not avoid, but to fight through it, sometimes we got to talk to other people. And I got to come in here and tell you that you're not the only one going through this withdrawal. Right. We have to be able to fight the withdrawal.
So withdrawals are real. So if you're really sugar addicted, I think it is not a bad idea to slowly taper yourself off. I mean, let's say you're on a antidepressant or some neurological medication, even gabapentin, anything that affects your nerves. If you stop cold turkey, you'll have severe withdrawals. Now, the glucose, the sugar, is hitting dopamine receptors, and that's a neurological problem. So addiction is a neurological problem. So anytime you cut something cold turkey, you get a lot of withdrawal symptoms. So I recommend people to really move to more Mediterranean diet where you can still enjoy your fruits and more natural sugars, and then try to cut back down on that more and more to avoid those severe withdrawal symptoms. But having a community and like-minded people definitely helps a lot to go through those sugar cravings. But what people end up doing is they go on a keto for a couple of weeks or a month, and then they get tired of it, they quit, they go back to sugar, and then they're back to baseline, to ground zero. And now they try to cut back the sugar again, and they are having this horrible symptoms, they hate their life. Again, it's a vicious cycle. So that's why I think there has to be a balance in life. If you're the type of person who can change a direction once and you never go back to the other direction, like you commit sin one time and you never commit that sin again, great. Then maybe you can change your diet to a keto and stay with it. But if you're the type of person that tend to, fall back and make mistakes, I think having a balanced diet, Mediterranean type of diet, low in sugars, if anything, more natural sugars and vegetables primarily, and some occasional fruits, I think is the way to go. And as long as you exercise and you keep your muscles active, you're going to be able to continue to tolerate sugar, unless you're severely insulin deficient or severely insulin resistant. Then it may take a little bit longer to build that insulin sensitivity again. All right, let's watch another video here.
Oh my god.
All right, these babies, right? They're cute. It's so funny and too fun to watch. But let me tell you, you know, the addiction to sugar starts really very early. We all get addicted to sugar, and society makes us addicted to sugar. That starts with your parents, you know, having fun with this type of things, and then they every time you know, are cranky, they just give you some sugar, some cookie, candy to kind of shut you down. One time, actually, a patient came to me and said, "Doc, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that I'm diabetic. You know whose fault it is? It's my parents. They always gave me that candy and cake and sweets just to, every time I cried, they just gave me that. Now, every time I'm emotionally upset, I go right to it." So once your brain connect the sugar with good memories or sugar with emotional issues, you are connecting the dots. So like, if it's a birthday, it must be a cake, right? So you cannot have a birthday without a cake, because this is how you're raised. This is what you're conditioned to. So I think we need to kind of work on reversing some of these conditions that we have in our head, making us believe that sugar is not gonna make you happy. It may make you happy temporarily, but then you're going to end up being depressed or crashes after that. Your energy will be definitely low. We don't want to definitely be part of that. As a society, we need to shift gears at this point. So let's take a few more questions, and we're going to close after that. All right, so there are some comments here. So let's see here. Yes, I agree. Someone said with Mediterranean diet, lots of fresh herbs, lemon, extra virgin olive oil, olives, arugula, greens, etc. Yeah, I mean, look, pretty much everything in Mediterranean diet is medicine. I tell people that what you eat is medicine. If I give you a bunch of pills, like medications, and if I tell you, hey, just swallow these pills and good luck, I think you'll be all right. Would you ask the question, hey, what am I swallowing? Why am I swallowing this? What is this going to do to me, right? You will ask that question. If you're not asking, you have a problem. You need to ask that question. And I tell every patient that anything you put into your mouth, ask the question. It begs the question, what is this food is going to do to me, to my body, right? Fresh herbs, lemon, extra virgin oil, olive, or olives itself, or arugula. These are not just tasty, they're super loaded with antioxidants like healthy fats, anti-inflammatory compounds. That is sustenance. That is nutrition. That's why studies show consistently Mediterranean style of eating helps lower your blood sugar, reduces your heart attack risk and stroke risk, and support longevity. That's why people in blue zones, like in Sardinia, for example, they are on Mediterranean diet, and that's all they eat. But it's not about restriction, it's about flavor and balance. A lot of people don't like vegetables and Mediterranean diet style because, again, they're not raised with it. But you have to change that mentality. Just because you're raised on SAD diet, which is standard American diet, doesn't mean that you're stuck with it or that's not your fate. You can always change your diet to more Mediterranean style if you want to have better quality of life and longer lifespan. We had a lot more videos to talk about today, but I think we are a little bit over time right now. Thanks for joining today, and we will hope to see you next Sunday again around the same time.